This morning, divers are expected back in the water, searching after that cargo ship crashed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge, causing its shocking collapse.
The whole bridge just fell down.
A live stream capturing the nightmarish moments of the collision. At 1:24 a.m., you can see the ship's lights turn off. They came back on a minute later as dark smoke started billowing. At 1:26 a.m., the lights go out again. 2 minutes later, the ship collides with the bridge.
This tragedy is going to affect the United States and beyond for years to come, and it's going to cost billions of dollars to remove and rebuild the Francis Scott Key Bridge. There's so many unanswered questions, and I know it's really early, but boxer Ryan Garcia, if you know who he is, he was a champion boxer. He's still in the boxing game. He's got a fight coming up shortly against Devin Haney, a world champion. And Ryan's been on social media lately making all these weird videos and predictions. And he put out a tweet predicting something would happen bad in Maryland on March 26th. And of course, we don't know if he knew. My guess is he didn't know because, again, he's been acting awfully strange on social media since his fight with Devin Haney was announced. But this tragedy, just the problems with shipping and commerce all over the world and the amount of cargo ships that go through that port are going to be delayed for years to come. And Mayor Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary, made sure he was there the morning after that bridge fell. And if you recall, we had a very toxic train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, that the federal government didn't really seem to care about. As a matter of fact, it took Buttigieg over 3 weeks to get there and visit the site. And it took Joe Biden exactly 1 year to go to East Palestine to view the damage. They're still suffering today from the toxic chemicals that were in the air and seeped into the ground and into the water surrounding the entire community where the train derailed. But Joe Biden, when he talked about this bridge going down, he said something that really, really blew my mind.
Attention. That federal government will pay for the entire cost of reconstructing that bridge. And I expect the Congress to support my effort. This is going to take some time. The people of Baltimore can count on us, though, to stick with them at every step of the way until the port is reopened and the bridge is rebuilt. You know, we're not leaving until this job gets done. Not leaving until then. So I just want to say God bless everybody who got everyone harmed this morning and their families. And may God bless the first responders, many of them risking their lives. And the reason I'm not going to take a lot of questions, there's remaining issues that are open that we got to determine what's going to happen in terms of the rescue mission and the like. But
Do you plan to go to Baltimore, sir? And if so, how quickly?
I do, and as quickly as I can.
You said the federal government's also going to pay for the repairs. I'm just curious. This was a ship that appears to be at fault. Is there any reason to believe that the company behind the ship should be held responsible? And then also, you mentioned
that could be, but we're not going to wait for that to happen. We're going to pay for it to get the bridge rebuilt and open.
How can he come out and say that the federal government is going to pay the entire cost to rebuild that bridge when the cargo ship, if it was at fault, and it looks like it was, don't you go after the owners of the ship or the insurers of the company? But he said we can't wait that long. Well, that bridge is not going to be built overnight. It took 5 years to build the original bridge. How long do they think it's going to take to build a new one? It's probably going to take close to 5 years. And Joe Biden doesn't want to wait that long. He's going to make sure that the American taxpayer foots the bill, probably in the billions of dollars, to rebuild that bridge. And I got no problem with building a bridge. But why do I have to pay for it? Why do you have to pay for it? Well, my guess is, and my guess why Buttigieg was on the scene the very next morning, the governor of Maryland is a Democrat. The mayor of Baltimore is a Democrat. Joe Biden is a Democrat. He always talks about bipartisan politics. We have to work together. Well, East Palestine, Ohio, was a town that voted for Donald Trump. The governor of Ohio is a Republican. And again, Joe Biden talks about bipartisan politics. No. That's partisan politics at its best. He made sure Mayor Pete was on the ground in the morning. Yes, the entire bridge was taken down and some souls were lost. I believe they rescued 2 people and they recovered 2 more bodies, and I think they're still looking for the rest of the men who were working on that bridge, and my prayers go out to their families. But what about the toxic, highly toxic chemicals that the residents of East Palestine, Ohio are dealing with? Is the federal government paying them? Are they paying them to live? Are they paying them to relocate? Because they probably can't even live in their homes anymore. The ground was so contaminated with toxic chemicals that they really don't know how bad it is. But the EPA was on the scene and they were checking the air and it was fine. But if you talk to residents there, they're still feeling ill today. And that was well over a year ago. So now we have this tragedy in Maryland. And now it remains to be seen how fast Joe Biden's Army Corps of Engineers get on the scene with heavy equipment to remove all the rubble. How fast will they get that cargo ship out of the way to open that channel? This is nothing more than politics, okay? In my opinion, Joe Biden doesn't care that a bridge fell. Joe Biden's doing this because he's running for re-election. We all know that bridge coming down was a tragedy. We all know it's going to affect commerce all over the world. But the Biden administration is only looking for votes. That's why he promised to pay the bill. Because he thinks that people are going to see, look what the president did for us. He's going to pay this bill, and the taxpayers of Maryland are not going to have to put in a penny. This is partisan politics 101. You have a Democrat governor and a Republican governor. That's why Biden's making all these promises. He needs to stay in office to continue destroying our country. And that's the bottom line, and that's how I see it. Again, we all know it's a tragedy and souls were lost, and they shouldn't have been. But thanks to the first responders, they stopped traffic on that bridge so more people didn't perish. But this right here is a disgrace. It's how can you get in front of a camera right after something happens and say the federal government is going to foot the bill? And then he was asked a question, and he said, we're not going to wait for that. How about doing an in-depth investigation and find out what really happened? Find out why that vessel all of a sudden turned and headed straight for that pylon, if you will, that it hit. Why? The boat was on another direction. We all saw the video, and then it turned, and then it hit. Investigate. Make people pay who are responsible for this tragedy. Don't put the bill on the American taxpayer because we are suffering enough.